This is Beyond Radio. We're at Coastal Amateur Boxing Club in Morecambe, and we're going to be talking today about the big fight that's happening on Saturday night in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Morecambe's own Tyson Fury challenging for the unified heavyweight championship against Oleksandr Usyk, the man who handed Tyson his only professional career loss back in May. Tyson will be looking to turn the tables. And to help me preview the fight, I've got three gentlemen who are very much leading figures on the boxing scene here in the Morecambe area. I've got Jamie Wakeman here to my left, who is a coach at Coastal Amateur Boxing Club, right where we are here this evening, and has worked very closely with a lot of the young boxers in the local area and observed Tyson's career very, very closely. I've got Owen Kirk here, Owen the Captain Kirk, light heavyweight professional boxer from Morecambe, about to have his 10th professional fight coming up at Box Park in Liverpool on February the 21st. Again, has worked closely with Tyson, done some training with Tyson, and watched his career closely. And I've also got Walter Fury, Tyson's cousin. Walter, who is an undefeated professional, won his first two fights and got a big fight coming up on February the 8th on the undercard of Derek Chisora's next fight against Otto Wallin in Manchester. So we're going to chat, gents, a little bit about this fight coming up. But first of all, Jamie, what's your first memories of Tyson, of seeing him and of meeting him?
So my first memories really are just as a general member of the public. I moved to Slime with Hest probably about 10 years ago, and Tyson lived in the same village, so saw him about the village a few times. I think when we spoke last year, I mentioned about how first time I saw him in the village was when we were trick-or-treating with the kids and he was trick-or-treating with his kids, and he won't remember, but we passed him in the street, and first time I saw him in the village, but we've seen him in the village, regular, even just bumping into him in the corner shop at, the Londis in Slime. But then, he comes in the gym, see him regular and become more and more familiar with him, and really he's just a regular person that we see in the local community now. But my first memories really are just in Slime with S when we first moved there and crossing paths with him.
Okay, and Owen Kirk, what about yourself?
So going well back to when I was like 11 year old, started high school. Obviously I just started boxing when I was 11, so I've seen him around the amateur gyms when Bob was obviously back, doing his stuff at Lancaster Boys Club. But I remember a lot of memories when I used to walk to Heysham High School. Is it the one just off Fairfield Road where the ambulance station is? I used to see him most mornings doing his slow pace run when he had hair on his head running down there. And this was before he won any major titles. So he was sort of where us boys were early in his career, obviously coming off a great amateur career. But back in them days, it was, he was just doing what we're doing now. And between sort of then and now, what he's achieved is just fantastic. But seeing him running on the walk to school was a good memory, starting off with Tyson. Then it's all just got better and better as we've all got older, so
And Walter, you'll have a different kind of perspective to the other lads because, you'll have grown up with Tyson being your cousin. What's the age difference between the two of you?
Oh, well, I'm 27 at the minute, and I think he's 36, is he? So there's a good age gap, but to be fair with you, I think from being 11 to 12-year-old, I've trained at the side of him. And it's been a pleasure all the time of being the cousin of him, do you know what I mean? And look, what can I say really? He is his own person. He learnt a lot off my own dad, what was obviously a very good trainer. And look, he's done everything he said, hasn't he? So he deserves where he's at right now. Obviously, he's fighting Usyk again. The first fight was a very close fight. And look, the best man will win, won't they? But I'm sure Tyson's going there to win the fight.
It's actually just reminding me, I think the first time I ever met Tyson was at one of your fights, an amateur fight, and I think it was at the Carlton in Morecambe from memory. I think it might have been Skirton Amateur Boxing Club you were boxing for, and I remember Tyson being sat behind me on the stage, really cheering you on, and that sort of carried on into your professional career, hasn't it?
Most definitely, listen, he's helped me along the way since I've been an amateur. But since I turned over pro, he was the person why I actually wanted to do the pro game. Because obviously I lost my dad, so he gave me that bit of spirit back to get myself back into it. he's a good man, like he does for all the young children in Morecambe and Lancaster. He always inspires them to do better and keep cracking on with what talents they've got, and that's what it's all about. He's a good person, and he also can be a bad person. So when he steps in the ring on Saturday night, I believe you'll see a different Tyson.
Well, we'll talk a little bit about that in a minute, because he's out currently in Saudi Arabia right in the middle of fight week, and there's been a lot of incident, as you'd expect with any Tyson Fury fight already. We'll chat about that shortly, but let's go back to May, and Walter touched on it before about the fight the first time with Usyk, a very, very close fight. Jamie, you were there. You were there as a fan at ringside with your son, and just tell us about the atmosphere, first of all. What was that like, being part of that massive, first undisputed heavyweight title fight in 25 years?
Yeah, it was a great event to go to, and not just the fight. The days leading up to it, the city is bustling with energy. Riyadh put it is a whole city event. So you go into the city. There's the area where they'll do the weigh-in. They'll probably do that tomorrow. They'll do the weigh-in. So they'll have loads of activity going on there. It's not just a stage with a bit of a weigh-in. It's like a carnival of things going on. And there's even if you go out for something to eat in the evening, they've got boxing machines up and loads of boxing related activity going on around the city for days leading up to it. So it's a great event to go to for that reason as a member of the public. So if anyone thought about going out there to Riyadh to see a sporting event, whether it be to see Tyson fight or something else, I would recommend it. And then when you get to the event and the arena's really impressive. It's huge. And I know one of the local football teams plays in it, so it's a football pitch by day and then it's an arena by night. So it is absolutely massive, and there's loads of stuff going on at the arena. So if you go to the MEN or somewhere like that, then typically you go in there to watch the event and that's it. But in this place, there is loads of stuff going on in and around it. So in between fights, there's things happening that you can go and entertain yourself with. So the atmosphere is really good. One of the things that I actually really liked about it is that because you can't drink over in Saudi, you feel really safe. The atmosphere is good, but at the same time, you don't feel like anything's on the edge. And I was able to go there with Declan, my son, and we had a great time, and it was really relaxed, but an impressive place to go to.
What was your impression watching the fight from so close up? Yeah. When the final bell rang, what did you think, hand on heart? Who did you think had won it?
We were scoring it round by round. We're boxing people, so that's how we typically went. So we didn't get to the end of the fight and think, I think it's gone this way, I think it's gone that way. We had a way that we'd scored it, and we had it 114, 113 for Tyson, 7 rounds to 5, 10-8 round for Usyk, made it a point difference, and that was me and the people that were around us scored it very, very similar. There was, from when we watched it in the arena, there was a couple of rounds that were close, so we were like, but we give some of them rounds to Usyk, we give some to Tyson. And when you watch it back on TV, I've watched it back, and I did score it the same result in the end. I actually flipped two of the rounds round in the end, but I had Tyson winning. But it was a really, really tight fight. So when the cards came in like they did, no one really in the arena argued with it. But it was an incredibly tight fight, and it was just everybody was just on the edge of the seats for all 12 rounds. Every round there was something going on, and it was a brilliant fight to watch live in the arena.
Official scorecards were 115, 112 to Usyk and 114, 113 to Usyk. And one of the judges scored it the same as you, Jamie, and indeed the same as I did on the night, 114, 113 to Tyson. How about you, Owen? What was whereabouts did you watch it, first of all?
Do you know what? Well, I was at home with my family watching this fight back in May. But yeah, going to the scorecards again, people are going to say we're all biased because we're all from the same town and we know him. But again, I mirror what Jamie said. I watched it, and I watched it another couple of times. I watched it again after the fight on replay, and I focused on Tyson's work, and I watched it again, and I focused on what Usyk did. And again, I had it, with the volume on, with the volume off. I watched it a lot, and again, 114, 113 Tyson. It was a great fight. He had a bit of a wobble in round 9, what we all seen. He showed his chin that night. Christ, you can't question his chin. He got the 10-8 round, but I think that's probably what got Usyk it. But like you say, you can't argue the decision. It was a great fight. It was close. But I scored it after watching it a few times, 114, 113. So it's behind him now. I believe this week, you know what I mean, I think he's going to get it back. Then belt's coming back home to Morecambe, and we're just chatting there before this interview. He's got a glint in his eye this week where he had that same glint when he fought Wilder, when he come back after that bit of a dodgy decision back in the first fight. And when he's got that glint in his eye, and I always say that big scruffy beard on him, he's gone into beast mode. And you know what I mean, he's gone over to another country, he's got away from everybody, and he's knuckled down. And this Saturday night, like Walter said, I think we're going to see Tyson Fury at his absolute best, firing on all cylinders. And it would not surprise me if we see him get Usyk out of there mid to late once he's sort of figured his awkwardness out and got settled in with it. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, watching that fight, I watched it back again this week.
Yeah.
And I think actually it's quite an easy fight to score for most of it. I think rounds 4 to 7, Tyson's absolutely dominant. He's totally on top, wins every round, no question. Usyk, I think, wins every round 8 to 11. And I think it's how you score the other rounds, particularly the first 3, which were quite close. And I think Tyson wins the last round. I think he did on all 3 judges' cards. So it is a close fight, but I still genuinely think he nicked it. Walter, how about watching it yourself? You know, whereabouts did you watch it? And, you know, what was the reaction of the family following the decision?
Well, I watched it at home with my wife and that. And to be fair, I thought he just won it, but it's hard to say that as I say, thought he won it, because look, in the 9th round, Usyk made a mess of him in that round. So it was a lot of points catch back up on that. But to be fair, I think it should have been more of a draw than him lose. But it is what it is. That's in the past now. Now he gets his chance again, and he'll put things right. I know he will. And to be fair with you, everything happens for a reason. So it wasn't meant to be for him that night. So there's no need sulking about it or trying to take out away from Usyk, because he's an incredible fighter, and that's why he's at the top level with Tyson, because not many men's going to beat the two of them others. So it'll be very interesting. It'll be very good to see on Saturday the actual outcome of this fight, because then we see who is the actual best, and I'm sure it'll be Tyson.
You're absolutely right. I mean, these are the 2 best of the best. There's no 2 ways about it, you know, and they're very, very similar in terms of, I think, in terms of the heart and the toughness, and both got, and they showed it in the first fight, both showed incredible recovery powers. Fury, you know, Tyson hurting Usyk in the 6th round, massive uppercut, rocked him back, and then Tyson surviving that 9th round. I mean, do you feel that, is there any question that this is the toughest opponent that either man has ever faced in their career? Tyson would say no. Tyson would say Wilder might be tougher, but what's your perception of that?
My opinion is he isn't the toughest Tyson's fought, but he's definitely the talentedest and most skilled fighter, which makes him one of the best fighters he's fought, yeah. But it's hard for Tyson, you see, and these are harder fights for him with Usyk, because Usyk, with him being the size he is, little and Tyson, he's a tricky man. That's why he's beat all other heavyweights. It's not just about that. Boxing skills come into fighting as well. Even though Tyson's a very good boxer, so's Usyk. So this is why it's making so good of a fight for the first fight, which it was, and this fight will be even better. I just think Tyson will be too much. I think he'll go forward, put it on him, and get him out of there.
Okay. Well, we're looking ahead to this Saturday, Jamie. As a coach, as a boxing coach, and someone who studied boxing, you know, in great detail and studied that first fight, what do you think Tyson needs to do to make sure he gets his hand raised on Saturday night?
I think probably the one key thing is that if he's got space behind him in the ring, Tyson, then he'll win the fight. If he's got that more often than he did do in the first fight, i.e. stays off the ropes and he's switched on and concentrated for all 12 rounds, then I think he could absolutely dominate. If he does that, I don't actually think it'll be close. So the shots that he took from Usyk, a lot of them were when he was on the ropes and backed into the corner. And if he can hold his feet and even keep 2-3 yards away from the ropes at worst, then he can box him at range and land those big uppercuts and big shots at long range behind his jab, and that's what I think that's where I think his best chance is. But Tyson will have a game plan, and he's ultimately far more experienced than me. I should never take advice from myself, but but that's what, watching the first fight, they're the key takeaways for me.
And pushing back, he seemed to have a lot more success when he was pushing Usyk back.
Yeah, and ultimately then that's it. So once he's brought him onto them big shots and he's hurt him, and then pushing him back and taking that space when Usyk takes a backward step, then yeah, he can then look to put it on Usyk a little bit more. But key thing is to be able to keep it at long range and not back to the ropes as much as he did do in some parts of the first fight.
Now, Owen, early in your career, you had a situation which is quite similar to Tyson. You had a fight against a guy called Jake Bray, which you lost controversially, and you then went into a rematch against Jake Bray and fought a different type of fight. You actually were a lot more aggressive in that fight.
Yeah.
What was your mentality, going into a rematch? How did it differ from that first fight? And how can we kind of liken that to what Tyson's got to do on Saturday?
Yeah. Do you know what? With the scenario there, like, I know he's at the top of the tree, but when you strip it all away and you fought a man and you feel like you should have won that night and you get your chance to go again, it was nothing personal. It was just more for you fighting your own demons. It's like you want to prove it to yourself. You ain't got to prove it to nobody, not the man in front of you, not your coaches, the people that buy the tickets. In my head, that's on that second night I had with Jake Bray, and it was in his hometown, so I had everyone against me. All I had was go out there and you can do him. And I went out there and I did everything, and I didn't listen to my coaches like that night because I could have quite easily outboxed him, but I had that chip on my shoulder. I wanted to get out there and prove it. And for the first 2 rounds, because I knew what that Jake Bray was like, he was known for gassing after 2 rounds, going very flat-footed, shall we say. So I tucked up for 2 rounds. I let him swing his best shots at me, and I just tucked up, caught a lot on the gloves, took a few silly shots here and there, nothing concussive. And then, as you see from the fight, round 3 onwards, I just started taking over. I was hitting him clean. I was getting stronger. And again, the decision that night, I wouldn't say it was as clear as the first fight, but I believe I won the second fight. And
It was a draw, wasn't it? The second?
yeah, it was a draw. And I scored it, and a lot of people scored it 4-2. The first 2 rounds where, like I say, I was just letting him get himself flat-footed. And I was hoping to jump on him and stop him, but listen, these men are tough. Boxing, it's a tough man's sport, right? And when you're punching these men, especially like Jake Bray, that at the time he was fighting every Saturday night, he's seen it all, so he can adapt, he can take it well. So I was young. I've got a bit older now. I've had a few more fights, a lot more rounds, a lot more sparring. Been round Bob for a lot longer, and it's like you're learning. So the patience factor I have taken from even the second fight now moving forward is, you know what I mean? The patience is where it really matters. Tyson, I believe, on Saturday night, there's many ways he can beat Usyk. He can go out there and do what he did the first time, and like Jamie said, and like Tyson said himself, focus. Don't be doing the punching him and getting your work off, but getting back and like showboating, as they call it. Keep your head on focus, and he could outbox him and have a concussive points victory. Or, this is my prediction, he'll do what he did with the Wilder fight, looking at the glint in his eyes and sort of the prep that he's had for it. Come out, chin down, hands up, walk him down, and just start smashing away at him until he's out of there. And I really do believe that's going to happen Saturday, Greg. I do. Yeah, we all know Tyson well in here enough, and when that man is ready for a fight, you see it in his eyes, and his eyes are not telling any lies this week. And to me, I'm reading that man's ready for the worst. Like, he's going to take himself to dark places Saturday night to get that win. So I'm rooting for him big time.
I mean, Walter, we're seeing like Owen says, we're seeing a totally different Tyson than we saw in the build-up to the first fight. We're seeing a menacing Tyson. You know, Tyson's talked about causing Usyk pain, about causing damage. He's not saying quite so much in terms of his interviews that he's doing, particularly at the public workout yesterday, where he didn't really do very much. He just sort of, came into the ring and said a few words and left. Today at the press conference, we've seen a really intense, over 10-minute stare down between the two men. We talked about the Wilder 2 fight, but again, it seems to me slightly different to that in terms of his demeanour. Have you seen Tyson looking like this before, would you say?
No, I haven't, to be fair. I don't think he's ever looked like this before. This is what you call Tyson meaning proper business. This is going to be the best you're going to ever see him. Because he knows this is he knows this is his only chance to get them belts back off Usyk. So now he's in that boat, you'll see a different man again. Tyson's always been good at coming back and making things right, and that's what he's going to do. And not just that, like these have just told you the cell, which the correct is, as long as he stays switched on at all times, less showboating and gets down to business, which he will do, then he'll make easy work of it. Tyson can only make hard work of it his own cell, nothing else. He's got every ability anybody could ever have, because that's why he is where he is. So if he uses all them, he'll make a easy night of it. And look, Tyson, to be fair, I don't know, I've knew him all my life and grew up with him. And to be fair, when I seen him myself, I know there's something different about him, but that's just the fire in him. So even I'm very excited for it. Obviously, he's my cousin, family and that, so you get nervous. You only want the best for him, like always have. But the thing is, when you see him the way he is now, it's also frightening as well. Because I know Tyson's going to go in there and give it everything he's got, which is dangerous because he'll put his life on the line for this fight. And that's what we're going to see.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to ask you all for a prediction because I know what you're going to. Well, no. Let's do it. Let's ask for a prediction. Go on, Walter. Give us your final fight prediction.
Prediction is 8 or 9 rounds. He stops him.
Owen.
Exactly what Walter said. Listen, if the version that I think is going to turn up, looking at the glint in his eye, a big stoppage, and I don't think it's going to be one of them where Usyk's going to be up and down. I can see Tyson putting him to sleep, mid to late. But definitely a stoppage victory for Tyson, and belts coming home to Morecambe, so let's be having it Saturday night.
Okay, and Jamie?
Yeah, so I do think he's going to stop him as well. I think he's going to be a bit later than what Walter said, maybe in the later rounds, championship rounds, but if it's not stoppage, I do think it'll be a wide unanimous decision for Tyson. I think it'll be a commanding performance, and he'll win wide, whether that's through stoppage or on the cards.
Okay, well, you've heard it here. And gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and for speaking to us. Walter and Owen, best of luck in your fights coming up. And Jamie, best of luck to everybody at Coastal. They've had a great year and continue to do that, I'm sure, in 2025. You've heard it here. The belts are coming back to Morecambe. Tyson Fury versus Oleksandr Usyk II this Saturday, Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. Will it be repeat or revenge? Well, in no doubt here, it's going to be revenge. Thanks very much for watching.